So I think one of the first things we need to acknowledge when we talk about culture is just that oftentimes, especially in Mennonite communities, I think we interchange or we use the word culture interchangeably for the world. So that obviously is going to leave a lot of negative connotation in people's minds whenever they think about culture, especially in Mennonite circles. But whenever I think about culture, I think more so of just like the American lifestyle, or at least in our American context, that is, just the American lifestyle, our entertainment, just what our day to day looks like, and just how Americans kind of live out their life. Um, so at least in my church, Cherry Glade, I wouldn't say it's against culture at all. It is very countercultural in a lot of ways. But I think our church overall has done a pretty good job of engaging culture from a, I don't know if corporate's the right word, but from a more, I guess, bigger perspective. Like we're involved with a couple different outreaches to, different towns and different communities, and like they had a thing where like the one local college has like a lot of fatherless kids that come in, so a bunch of the guys from our church, some of the older guys would mentor them while they were in school. So different things like that, where our church engages culture. Um, Again, it doesn't condone a lot of aspects of culture at all, but I definitely wouldn't say it's against it. And I think a lot of it, when I think about it, really just boils down to like an individual view from person to person. So I think as Christians, there's parts of culture that we should definitely be against. And I think that's one thing I want to say too. I think that we often kind of put these specific things into the definition of culture when in reality, all of us engage with culture in some way, shape, or form, whether that's, just sports, just different activities that we like they all contribute to American culture a lot of the time. So I think it's pretty inevitable for most people to engage with the American culture at some point. But yeah, like there's aspects of culture that definitely Christians should appear to be against. But I don't think that means that as a whole culture is something we should be repulsed by or avoid. So like I think an example would be just for me in high school, like I often got, I guess, picked on, kind of like I never really got offended by it or anything. Um, just for different ways that I didn't live, like staying sober and not partying, things like that is, culturally it's a pretty normal thing for high schoolers to, go out and get wasted and party and stuff. But the lifestyle I chose to live was very countercultural to that. But at the same time, a lot of my friends who would pick on me for that also knew that I could go like watch Stranger Things with them or something. Like uh, parts of culture that I don't think contradict Christianity, and that I think Christians can interact with, and in a lot of ways, I think Christians should interact with. I think one thing I found that's been really beneficial in helping me to reach other people is finding common interests. And obviously, you have to use discernment whenever you do that. You don't want to, catch yourself in the wrong influences or doing things that are sinful for the sake of trying to minister to people. That's never a good idea. But yeah, I'm kind of going on a rant here. But going back to like my church and the way that I see things, on a more individual to individual basis, I think our church is very diverse. Like I know that there's a lot of people that I would say are pretty against culture, or at least they would appear that way. Like I know some people that think like I think even Skillet is like sinful to listen to or something like that. I've heard a couple times. So you have people like that, which is a pretty big minority. And then you have other people like some of my older youth sponsors were like the people that got me hooked on like a couple Netflix shows, and just different times like music would come out that was like buzzing or whatever that had like a more socially conscious message. Like we would like listen to it and talk about it, and see like how as Christians we can interact with the topics that were brought up. So different things like that. um so yeah, I think I definitely wouldn't say that my church is against culture or fully into it or absorbing it. But I think what I see generally is that my church engages with culture in a way that uses discernment, knowing when as Christians, when we should interact with things, when we shouldn't, and just kind of using culture appropriately as a way to reach people. So I hope that all made sense. If not, type something and tell me what didn't make sense, and I'll try to explain it. But see ya.